Hi there, my name is Sam Capodici from the ZVM Development Lab Installation and Packaging team. I'm here today to talk to you about the GetShopz application and what it can do for you. Put simply, GetShopz simplifies the process to get service to your ZVM system. I'm going to present an overview and then we'll move into some demos, including some recent improvements from the feature pack from April 2025. So, how does GetShopz actually simplify the transfer process for service packages to your ZVM system? Well, GetShopz supports direct-to-host transfer for service ordered through Shopz and, as of 2025, for orders from ServiceLink. GetShopz supports digital signature verification for increased security of the transfer. Also, GetShopz provides ServiceLink files on your specified CMS disk ready to apply. That means that you don't have to manually deterse those files after uploading them through GetShopz. It also supports an HTTP tunnel proxy or an FTP application proxy for secure transfer and to accommodate different client configurations. What's the motivation for a product like GetShopz? Well, direct-to-host transfer reduces the number of steps in the transfer process by 50%. I like to say all you need to do is copy, paste, submit, and you're done. Even the Workstation upload process takes out those manual steps of detersing the files and provides increased security through digital signature verification. The audience is anyone who uses Shopz or ServiceLink in order to order ZVM service for their system. Let's briefly compare the two platforms that can be used to order service for your ZVM system. Shopz is free and available to all customers. It includes service, new releases, and license programs, and it uses HTTPS for downloads. It's an easy firewall setup, and orders generate a unique URL for each file in your order to download without further authentication. ServiceLink, on the other hand, is a paid or bundled services that includes only service packages, so that's PTFs or RSUs, for example. It uses secure FTP for automated download, and is a little more complicated firewall setup. Instead of generating unique URLs, it generates text on the order page that includes credentials, a username, and a password that authenticates the FTP download. GetShopz was initially released for ZVM 7.2 and is available on the 7.2.04 RSU. GetShopz is also automatically available with installation or upgrade to ZVM 7.3 and ZVM 7.4. Digital signature verification was introduced on APAR VM 66732 for ZVM 7.3. And new support for ServiceLink orders and for license program transfers is available with Feature 1 Fix 0 pack for ZVM 7.4. So let's talk a little more about digital signature verification. So you might have noticed that your order comes with a gimpath.xml file. This is a cover letter that lists the files in your order and their SHA fingerprints. So during a transfer using GetShopz, each file's fingerprint is compared to that SHA fingerprint in the cover letter in order to ensure that your files are genuine. There's a second cover letter aptly named gimpath2, which contains the digital signature to be verified. When you perform a direct-to-host transfer, you have hostname validation through TLS SSL to ensure that the files were downloaded straight from the IBM download site, and you also have the second assurance of digital signature verification to ensure the accuracy and completeness of those files. With a Workstation upload, you don't have that TLS SSL connection. The authenticity of your data would usually depend on the security of your own Workstation. However, with the introduction of digital signature verification, you now have more reassurance of file authenticity. GetShopz will automatically check those fingerprints for you as you perform the Workstation upload. This can also be manually applied to packages that you uploaded to your ZVM system already using a different method than GetShopz. The Feature 1 Fix 0 pack, released in April 2025, brings with it some major improvements for GetShopz. Firstly, GetShopz now supports direct-to-host transfer for ServiceLink orders, which will be demonstrated later in the video. You can also transfer Shopz orders for ZVM-related licensed programs, so things like Operations Manager. Or you can transfer them to your ZVM user running CMS another way, and then use the extract option of GetShopz to extract the contents and verify them. There's a new fast FTP option that allows for a faster transfer, and overall a more stable and more responsive product. As an example of the new licensed program transfer, I manually uploaded Operations Manager to my own ZVM system. That's this top image right here. So I downloaded those files to my workstation, I transferred them manually, and then I detersed this op manager bin file. Then I used GetShopz in order to transfer the exact same order. I can personally say it took about a quarter of the time for this example. It avoided so many of these manual steps I didn't have to download to my workstation, transfer manually, or deterse. And notice that the final block size of that detersed file is identical to the ready-to-apply ServiceLink file produced by GetShopz.
So now a practical peek at how to start up GetShopz on your VM user running CMS. You'll need a 3270 session, and by default, GetShopz is located on your Mate 193 mini disk. So once you're linked to that, you can use the GetShopz command. GetShopz will also need access to the TCP/IP data file that's usually found on the TCP Mate 592 disk. It's recommended to run from the Mate 7XO user ID, since that's where you're going to eventually apply those ServiceLink files, but you can run it from your regular user ID. It doesn't need any special privileges in order to run. You'll need access to the Mate 500 disk, or any disk really where you want to place your files from the Shopz or the ServiceLink order. Just make sure that that disk is big enough for those detersed files. Remember, they're automatically detersed for you. Then GetShopz is going to output something that looks a little bit like this. It'll include the latest version number, as well as a URL that is customized to your configuration. The port that this URL includes stays consistent. So unless you need to use the token option for token-based authentication, you can bookmark this link, it will not change. There are 4 different ways you can use the GetShopz command. Your default here is GetShopz run, which will start up the web interface for file transfers. You can also use GetShopz help to display some help information. If you run GetShopz defaults and then a series of GetShopz options, then those options will be saved and automatically applied to all future uses of GetShopz run. So for example, if you run GetShopz defaults and then say the token option, then that will be saved and all future uses of GetShopz run will use that token-based authentication without you having to remember to specify the option. GetShopz extract is useful when you uploaded a package using a different method other than GetShopz. It'll deterse and verify the digital signature of that file, proving that the package came from IBM.
And now for a few helpful GetShopz options that you might want to toss into your defaults. So this disk option here allows you to specify which disk you want to store your uncompressed files on after the transfer. The isolated option allows you to run GetShopz without internet connectivity. So in very secure environments, your system might not be able to connect to the internet. You can still use GetShopz with the isolated option. The port option specifies which port to use for the web interface. So if you, say, have a devoted port that you use with GetShopz, you can toss this port option into your GetShopz defaults. Secure ensures that the web interface uses a TLS SSL connection. In other words, it generates an HTTPS URL. Token uses token-based authentication. So if your workstation IP address can't be checked due to your security configuration, you can use the token option with GetShopz. The one thing this does is it means that a unique URL is generated each time, so you can't store the GetShopz URL in your bookmarks. There's a lot more of these options that can be used to customize to your configuration. You can see all of those in the service guide. So we're almost ready to move on to the demos, but first I wanted to give you a little explanation of the output that you're going to see from GetShopz during those demos. So GetShopz is going to produce a table that looks like this on the web interface during and after a transfer. It's also going to pop up on your VM user running CMS when the GetShopz program concludes. This will also be logged in a file called GetShopz log file on your VM user running CMS for your future reference. Now, each file uploaded is going to include these 7 columns. The first column is file name. That's the fully qualified name of the file that is about to be transferred or downloaded. This size represents the size of the compressed file. The CMS file is the final file name of that decompressed file that is stored on your CMS disk. So when you're looking later for that ServiceLink file to apply, you'll have the CMS file name for reference. The transfer rate is the average throughput for that file, so this can be used along with the size to estimate the time to completion for your transfer. So you'll see that comes as a percentage and also as an estimate of seconds. The next column here is order, which is the identifier for which service order a file belongs to. Now, this is helpful because you can initiate a new transfer while your previous files are still uploading, so you don't have to wait for all your files to complete before uploading any new ones. You'll see this security column right here includes the confidence level based on the security measures available to this file that's being uploaded. This is usually going to say something like SSL or signed. Your license programs will be expected to say IBM SSL. Some other files that you upload might be specified as unknown. All that this means is that code signing wasn't available for that file. It doesn't necessarily mean that the file is corrupted or inaccurate. It just means that you ought to manually check it yourself before applying it, because GetShopz was not able to do that automatically. The final column here is digital signature verification. So during the transfer, if you look at this last line here, it'll show the percentage complete and the estimated time remaining. Once that file has completed transferring, it'll contain some relevant information, things like the hash value, or the code signing, or even the name of the file in order to confirm that it's uploaded successfully. This hash value, which goes with the GIMPATH cover letter, can be compared to the hash value in your order confirmation email. For further information on the setup, configuration, and usage of GetShopz, please refer to the ZVM Service Guide. Part 1, Chapter 2 includes all that information on how to configure and start using GetShopz. Appendix A is going to give you a really detailed view of the command syntax, all of those options, and some examples of how you can use GetShopz more efficiently. You can also access information online using vm.ibm.com/service/getshopz.html. And that website is also going to include this Navigating the GetShopz Web Interface presentation, which includes sample screens from the website itself and detailed instructions on how to perform each transfer. Speaking of detailed instructions, we are now ready to move into the demos. We are going to capture 4 scenarios in these demos. The first is a Shopz direct-to-host transfer, then a Shopz workstation upload, then, this is the new feature, a ServiceLink direct-to-host transfer, and finally, a ServiceLink workstation upload.
So for the Shopz direct-to-host transfer, the first thing I'm doing is linking my maint 193 mini disk, which is where GetShopz is located. Now I can run the GetShopz command with the disk B operand, which is a disk I prepared for this demo. I can copy that link that it is generated for my specific configuration and paste that in a web browser. Now moving to Shopz, I can go to the My Orders tab, then In Process Orders, and then locate the order that I want to download. Then I'll select download using HTTPS. I can use my browser extension to copy all of these links at once. Then go to GetShopz and paste all of those links right in the input box and hit submit. Now the table will start populating with information about these files and the transfer status. I'll speed this one up for you here. And now all of my files have finished transferring. Back on my VM user running CMS, I can press PF3 to stop, and you'll see that table is reproduced here. Let me check on those files on my B disk, and they're all there, deterged and ready to apply. This GetShopz log file contains information about my order for my records down the line. For the Shopz workstation upload demo, the first thing I'll do is link this maint 193 mini disk, which is where GetShopz is located. Then I can run the GetShopz command with the disk B operand. That's a disk I prepared for this demo. Then I can copy this link, which has been generated from my unique configuration, and I can paste that in a web browser. When the web interface opens, I'll want to select the Workstation Upload tab, then go back to Shopz. Under the My Orders tab, you'll find this In Process Orders, and then I'll locate the order that I want to download. I'll select download using HTTPS. Then for each file listed, I'll want to click in order to download that file. And I'll want to place those files into a location in my file explorer that I can find later. So I prepared this little folder here. And now I can drag those files right from my file explorer into the drag and drop area. I could also use the browse button to locate these files. And even if I start uploading a large file that's going to take a while to transfer, I can continue dragging and dropping other files to transfer in the meantime. So let me speed this up for us. Now that all my transfers have completed, let me take a look at my VM user running CMS. I can press PF3 to stop the web interface, and there's all the information about my order. Let me check on those files on the B disk. So my ServiceLink file is here ready to apply, and I have this GetShopz log file that'll show information about the order that was transferred and any past orders. Here's a demo with a new functionality, which is ServiceLink direct-to-host transfer. So I'm linking my mate193 mini disk where GetShopz is located, and now I can run that GetShopz command with the disk B operand, which is a disk I prepared for this demo. Now I can copy this link, which has been generated from my unique configuration, and I can paste that into a web browser. Now going over to ServiceLink, I'll select Service Request and Delivery, then Work with Orders, and then locate the order that I want to transfer. Now I can copy all of the order text on this page, including the username and password, and paste the full text into GetShopz. Pressing Submit. In a few seconds, the table will start to populate with my files that are starting to be transferred. Let me speed this up for us. Now that my transfer is complete, I can go back to my VM user running CMS and press PF3 to stop the web interface, and my information is displayed. Let's check on those files over on the B disk. So my ServiceLink file is here ready to apply, and I can look into my GetShopz log file for information about that order transfer for my records. So for the ServiceLink Workstation upload demo, the first thing I'm going to do is link this mate193 mini disk where GetShopz is located. Then I can use this GetShopz command with the disk B operand, which is a disk I prepared for this demo. Now I can copy the link that was generated for my unique configuration and go ahead and paste that into a web browser. Once the web interface comes up, I'll go to the Workstation Upload tab. Back in ServiceLink, I'll navigate through Service Request and Delivery, then Work with Orders, then locate the order that I want to download. And I'll want to find this line of text that says, to access your order directly, go to. I can copy that link that's provided, and I can go ahead and paste that into a web browser as well. Then I'll want to copy the username and the password that ServiceLink has generated for this order uniquely. Once I'm signed in, I'll want to visit both directories here, so the doc directory and then returning to the prod directory, and click on each one of these files to download all of them from both directories. Returning to GetShopz, I can locate those files in my File Explorer, or I could use the Browse button to find them. But here I've got them open in my File Explorer, and I'll drag and drop each one into the drag and drop area. And even if I get a big file that's going to take a while to transfer, I can continue dragging and dropping more files while I'm waiting for that one to transfer. Let me speed this up for us. Now that all my transfers are complete, let's return to the VM user running CMS. So I can go ahead and use PF3 to stop that web interface, and all my order information is displayed. Now let's check on those files on the B disk. So my ServiceLink file is here, ready to apply. And I have this GetShopz log file that includes records of my order transfer for my future reference.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos like this one. Have a suggestion for another video topic? Feel free to leave a comment below.